This is a devlog about my indie game project, Omapeli. My hope is that it will become a good mix of some of my favorite games like Valheim, Elder Scrolls and Starbound. But in its current state, the game has flaws that make it quite annoying to play. One of these are the pie menus that I created on the 5th day of my alpha crunch. There are two of these menus, the physical and the magical pie menu. Let's review them, what is wrong and how I changed them to better. Hello and welcome. This is a game dev story. With the physical menu, I thought I was smart when I divided its functionality to two distinct states. In the normal state, you can use tools and access items like the inventory or maps. In contrast, the battle state is reserved for fighting only, and from there you can access your weapons and potions. The reason for this division was that the pie menu would then fit in more functionality without making it hard to select an option. In addition, I planned that the game's rule system could adapt to the state that the player is in. For example, you would take less damage in the battle state, but the distance you could sprint would be limited. Well, the problem with this system was that it felt clunky. You always noticed that you were in the wrong state when you made the selection, as it was hard to see in which state you were. I, personally, found myself often trying to access the inventory, just to notice that I was in the battle state. Frustrating. So, I thought about the design and decided to streamline it a little bit. Now you just have one state from where you can access the inventory, crafting and changing of the weapon. I also removed the tools section from the inventory because there is no juggling anymore between the tools and the weapons. In future, once I actually have implemented the tools, you would just place them in the same slot space with your weapons. Now, overall, this system supports less functionality, and maybe it is not so original anymore, but it feels much better, and that's the most important thing. Okay then, in the second menu, the problem was slightly different. Those who have played the Elder Scrolls game Skyrim may agree that the offensive magic in this game feels like that you are just using a physical weapon with a fancy particle effect. And maybe under the hood it is implemented so, but the problem here, in my opinion, is the fact that you can just pick a spell from a list and then merely press a button to cast it indefinitely. To me, it feels like pulling a trigger, not like you are casting an archaic spell. Well, I guess there are multiple ways to improve casting, but there is one game, one of my favorites that comes into my mind that does casting well. In Aquaria, you can sing one of the 8 notes. Once you sing 3 notes in succession, it activates a magical power and transforms your character into a different, more powerful state. You will learn these powers when beating bosses, and you need the powers to advance in the game, in Metroidvania style. This casting system is something that gives the player a feeling that they are controlling the spells. Now in Omapeli, I don't want our character to sing, but instead to pronounce magical syllables. I took the pie menu and extended its functionality so that a sequence of sub-selections similar to Aquaria determines the actual selection. Although the visual style here is quite crude, the system works. Now, in the game, the player could learn new spells from books, for example, or maybe by self-experimenting. And in future, I could change it so that your spellcasting level would somehow affect the spy menu. But we'll see. Game dev is slow and time-consuming. And releasing a game can feel like a distant dream, barricaded by endless to-do lists. My advice to myself and anyone in a similar situation is that let yourself enjoy the process. Release is temporary, but grind is forever. Thank you very much for watching again. Have a nice day and keep strong. Bye!